George Plaster Show, featuring Tennessee Sports Hall of Famers Kelly Holcomb and young gun Billy Derrick. And now, here's your host, George Plaster.
Hello again, everybody. Welcome in. It is a beautiful Wednesday in Nashville, Tennessee. The weather right now is awesome. Now, we both know it's going to heat up huge, and it's not going to feel anything like this. So I guess the word of wisdom here is enjoy it while it lasts, because right now it's really nice. Let's start in Murfreesboro. Say hello to Kelly Holcomb. Kelly, how are you?
Great, George. How you doing?
I'm good. Now, you know we're going up to Murray here in a few minutes.
Oh, really?
Yes.
No,
You didn't
I haven't
read
got the
what I
memo.
said earlier? Oh, I think you did. I think you got sent.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Oh, yeah. No, I did. I'm sorry.
What was that, Billy?
C note.
C note. I agree. No, I did. I don't know where my head was. Absolutely, yes.
So the story I've got, and I don't have a lot of the particulars, but obviously when John Wright joins us, we'll learn a lot more. Apparently, they had some sort of a gathering yesterday when the team got back that was pretty cool. They're not in town for long because obviously their piece of the puzzle, Billy, starts on Saturday.
Yeah, Murray plays Saturday, the first game on Saturday.
Who've they got?
UCLA? Is it UCLA?
UCLA. Yep.
Yeah.
That's winnable.
That is winnable. I wouldn't be surprised to see Murray in Arkansas in that game, that next round game.
Wow. You know, I brought it up yesterday, and the truth of it is, Billy, one of y'all may be able to look this up. I don't know the answer. In basketball, there's somewhere like 350 Division I teams. Most of those don't play football, like Niagara or Creighton, that don't play Division I football. What's the number of baseball teams? Maybe we'll get this in a minute that actually compete for a chance to go to Omaha.
That don't have football, you're saying?
Well, no, just how many Division I baseball teams are there?
Oh, that's a good question.
Yeah, I don't really know the answer, but since you're in the process of figuring this out, the answer is
looks like there are 300.
300. Okay, so think about this.
Yeah.
So they have gotten from 300 down to 8. Murray State has. That's pretty amazing.
It is pretty impressive. Like I don't know, like where did this come from?
Well, I don't know. That's part of what we're going to ask.
Yeah, you got to.
Yeah.
They've got a bunch of older guys that have transferred in from Power 5 schools, from what I know, and their coach is really impressive. He actually has a Knoxville background. I think Walter State is where he came from. I want to say.
Really?
Yeah.
Okay. So Billy, how are you today?
I'm good. It's hot out there.
Oh, come on.
But it's
what a wuss.
What?
Good Lord, if you think it's hot now.
I get so sick of everybody saying it's so hot outside. It's summertime in Tennessee. Let's go.
Man up.
Humid.
Man up a little bit.
Man up, Billy. Grow up.
grow up. That was the line the first few months. I think you said that 5 times a show.
Do you have an update with any substance whatsoever?
I do. It is brought to you by X Golf.
With that logo that you spent all that time on.
Yep, meticulous.
Yeah.
You can step into the future of golf with X Golf. Experience the world's most accurate golf simulator and elevate your game like never before. Book your tee time now at playxgolf.com and check out their new location out in Franklin at 209 South Royal Oaks. All right, tonight, Game 3, Thunder Pacers in Indianapolis, 7:30 on ABC. Series tied at 1. The Thunder are 5-point favorites. OKC hasn't covered a spread on the road this postseason. Can they cover tonight?
Kelly, we will have a play on that. As you know, I am red hot.
I knew that was coming. Gosh.
Yes.
You're one of them guys that can't have too much success because it goes straight to your head and you will talk just unmercifully.
4 in a row.
Wow.
I want to thank the Seattle Mariners who have just died on the vine in Arizona. That's really helped me.
That's the new White Sox this year. Because you were betting against the White Sox pretty much.
No. Now, hold on a second. Seattle's a really good baseball team with some of the best starting pitching going. Probably got as much starting pitching depth as anybody. But I don't know.
Yet they've died on the vine.
Well, they died on the vine for 2 nights in Arizona, and the Diamondbacks are a good baseball team. I mean, it's not a disgrace. It's not like what the Braves are doing.
Baseball's tough to bet on because there's so many games you don't know.
Not this week.
We need
because you're doing it, so it's not bad at all.
Wow.
The Knicks have now been denied to speak with 3 different coaches for their vacancy after the Mavericks rejected their request to speak with Jason Kidd. As of last night, the Knicks had also been denied by the Timberwolves for Chris Finch and the Rockets for Ime Udoka. They're still on the hunt for Thibodeau's replacement.
So let me ask you all a question. The Knicks look like it's eeny, meeny, miny, mo. Let's stop. Boom. They don't have a plan. You can't go after 3 different coaches after firing a guy that was as successful as Thibodeau and not look any more prepared than this.
That's what I was going to say. Did that? Do you think it was kind of like a Mike Vrabel deal with Thibodeau, like, or do you think that was coming, or do you think he kind of forced people's hands and they weren't expecting it? Like, what if you don't have a plan for this, then why would you do it? You know?
Yeah, I mean,
to me, in the NBA, it's different, and MLB I feel like is kind of like this too. How much does the NBA head coach actually matter?
I think he matters. Maybe not as much as on the college level.
I mean, they rotated. There's 10 new coaches in the league every year, I feel like.
Right, but there is in the NFL.
Okay, not 10. But the NFL,
Close.
I mean, a coach can really impact a season and a team. In the NBA, I mean, are you these coaches? I feel like aren't getting a ton of credit when it goes well, but they're getting, when it goes poorly, it's the star player's fault. Like it's more on the player.
Let me ask you this: do you think Thibodeau made a huge difference with the Knicks?
I mean, I don't think so. Whether it's good or bad.
Wow.
And now they're in a spot where, and like Rick Pitino said, whoever goes there, they're going to have the pressure on them to go win it all.
No question. But don't you have to know that before you pull that trigger?
Yeah.
Don't you have to know that X is available and not just be randomly going through the phone book? Well, let's stop in Dallas. Anybody seen Jason Kidd? Not available. Let's go to Minnesota. Chris Finch? Not available. I mean, it looks stupid. It looks sophomoric. How about that?
Sophomoric.
In
other news, the Suns and Kevin Durant's business partner, Rich Kleiman, have met multiple times over the past week. They are sifting through trade scenarios. Teams that have expressed interest in Durant are the Rockets, Spurs, Heat, Timberwolves, and Knicks.
Film at 11.
How many teams has Durant been on?
About 12.
I mean, I think he's
4
lost,
or 5.
He's lost some. He's gotten older, but he's lost some luster, a good amount. Just he can't seem to stay healthy the last couple of years.
So would we agree, though, that he kind of got his feelings hurt at Golden State when people didn't give him a lot of the credit for winning the title? It was just sort of anybody could have gone in there with that cast and won. And it seems like he got his feelings hurt. And I wonder if maybe staying in Golden State several years ago might have been the better move.
Yeah, I don't know why he ever left.
Good organization, though. I don't know. You can't do what he does in professional sports. Get your feelings hurt. Like, nobody cares. Nobody truly cares, you know. And I know when you're a big superstar like he is, but let's put it this way: this guy can still shoot the basketball if he can stay healthy. He's still got a few years left.
At the college level, according to yesterday's press release from the NCAA, there is positive momentum toward moving college basketball games from halves to quarters.
Why?
Well, this is a pretty widely accepted. I think a lot of people want this around the country. And of course, men's is the only division of the sport that uses halves instead of quarters. The women have used it since 2015. I don't really know. I'm kind of with you, George, too. I don't know why.
What's the point?
What did they say? Yes, they said they had a term for enhance the gameplay or something like whatever they said.
So 10-minute quarters, is that what it's going to be?
So Kelly, why is this such a big deal?
I don't know, George. I'm just thinking, you know, you might get an extra stoppage of play. I don't.
More commercial.
I don't know. Yeah, or commercials. I mean, that, you know, we all talk about it boils down to money. So that could be a huge possibility right there. They get more money because they get more commercials.
That's the one that probably makes the most sense. I just don't get it. I really don't. I mean, you know, good for the women's game that it's worked, but I mean, the men's game has worked this way for 150 years.
Yeah, is that how long has it been since has it been forever with the 20-minute halves?
I'm guessing it's been at least 75 to 80.
Really? Oh,
I would think. I don't know the answer, but I mean, it's been a long time.
Yeah. If it's that long, why mess with it?
Yeah, I don't. I'm with you guys. I don't know why you switch that.
This just seems like, okay, we've got 40 million problems to fix. It's like when Vandy changed logos. Why? That's the big problem at Vandy, was changing logos. This kind of feels like that a little bit.
Yeah. Also, BYU has signed men's basketball coach Kevin Young to a long-term contract extension after their first run to the Sweet 16 in 14 years. He was hired last year after Mark Pope left for Kentucky. They had a really good season. They beat VCU and Wisconsin in the NCAA tournament. They've got a 5-star coming to campus, AJ DeBansa, I think is how you pronounce his name. They could have another long run in the tournament next year as well.
There was one of those big Mondays where they took Kansas behind the woodshed.
Yeah.
Beat them by about 30.
And that environment they've got is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And then in college football earlier today, Deion Sanders reassured fans that his health is nothing to worry about after reports of him missing a speaking engagement due to some health issues. So put this tweet out. He said, "I'm truly blessed for the abundance of well wishes, for all the thoughts and all the prayers. Thank you." He said, "I can assure you that everything is okay and will continue to be so." So good news for Deion.
So we got an interesting show today. First up, we're going to go to Murray State and find out, how did this happen? Think about it. 300 schools, and they're down to 8. And they are clearly the underdog in this deal. You got a lot of big name schools that are in there. And then there's little old Murray State. And little old Murray State can flat out hit. That's their stock and trade. They can really hit. And that's what ought to worry whoever it is that plays them. John Wright from the Murray Ledger will join us to talk about what's gone on there, because it's pretty neat. Terry McCormick in the 4:00 hour, the OTAs, or as one of us has referred to them, glorified babysitting, is going on right now. And old TJ Watt has told the Steelers, no pay, no play.
Nice. Good for him.
Yes. So Aaron yesterday talked about this decision in his soul. That this is what my soul needed.
Why are you hating, George? He went into the dark room. He came out and he was focused and he was in the present and he knew what he wanted to do.
What do you
He
think?
should have waited a little longer, though.
That's what you would tell him.
Absolutely. Like, why did you do it right now? Don't he's worried about OTAs.
Did he have some guava juice while he was in there?
I'm sure he did, and I'm sure he had some other things as well.
Yeah. So, but the big story, it's interesting in Pittsburgh that, Aaron Rodgers is coming to town, but the big story is TJ has said no pay, no play. Don't know how long that's going to go on, but for the moment, that's pretty important stuff because the last time I checked, he's really good.
He's got a lot of leverage, George. I talked about that the other day. When you have leverage in professional sports, you better use it because if the club has leverage on you, you can better believe that they're going to use it. So when you get it, you better use it.
By the way, we've got the matchup set for this year's ACC-SEC Challenge for basketball.
This just came out.
Yep. According to John Rothstein, Vandy will be hosting SMU. Be a good matchup.
Okay.
And then Tennessee travels to Syracuse in the at the Carrier Dome.
Carrier Dome.
Yeah.
I've actually done a couple of Vandy SMU games.
When's the last time? They haven't played in a while.
Eddie Fogler's debut at Vandy did on TV, and I did the football game that ultimately probably got Watson fired.
Mm.
Really?
Yes, I had Paul Houlihan on at halftime. That was certainly enlightening.
I'm sure that was a pleasant interview.
We'll go to the break, and when we come back, we are headed to Murray. John Wright from the Murray Ledger will join us. Stick around. We got a good show coming on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
As the trusted premier custom home builder in Middle Tennessee, Donnelly Timmons has over 20 years of experience in the industry. Whether you're looking to build your dream home or renovate your current home, their team will ensure that every client and every remodel is unique, luxurious, and completed on time within budget. Founders Dustin Timmons and Joey Donnelly have over 25 years of construction experience in the Nashville area. Together, they have completed projects in Forest Hills, Oak Hill, Green Hills, Franklin, and Brentwood. Dustin and Joey believe that communication is the most important aspect of all construction projects. Therefore, they personally manage each project themselves and are involved in job site activities on a daily basis. Their commitment to quality and integrity has earned them an outstanding reputation among their clients. Contact them to set an appointment for a free consultation or to view some of their completed projects. Give them a call at 615-456-7983 or log on to DonnellyTimmons.com.
At Wilson Bank and Trust, we believe you shouldn't have to choose between personal service and digital solutions. As your local independent bank, we're proud to offer the relationships and trusted service you expect, along with the tools and technology that keep you moving forward. So whether you're growing a business, buying a home, or planning for the future, we're here to help. Because this isn't just where we work, it's where we live too. Wilson Bank and Trust, here to get you there. Member FDIC.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Tonight, your Nashville Sounds continue their 6-game series in Norfolk. Pre-game at 5:20.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan and the Game Nashville app. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are back. To me, this is one of the really cool stories going on in sports. And it's right up the road from us, about 2 hours to the northwest in Murray, Kentucky. The Murray State Racers are going to Omaha. And so a lot of you are sitting there going, how did it happen? So I reached out to John Wright last night from the Murray Ledger, and he joins us by phone. John, thanks for taking the time. I can only imagine the amount of fun going on up there.
It's the word for it for me has been insane, George. It's probably the greatest thing that's ever happened to Murray State athletics, and people are having a ball with it. So many people are talking about trying to get their travel plans for Omaha, and a lot of people who probably a few weeks ago weren't thinking about that. Now all of a sudden, this thing's caught fire here in Murray, and also throughout Western Kentucky and part of Northwest Tennessee. We're only a skip throw from Paris, Tennessee, Henry County. So a lot of folks down there have really gotten into this also.
John, tell us about yesterday, what went on when they got back to town.
Oh my gosh. Well, you have the fire department, you have the police department, sheriff's office, blaring with their blue and red lights and sirens and everything, coming behind Roy Stewart Stadium there with the bus. And I don't know how many people were there. I'm not really good with crowd estimation, but I will tell you this: it was twice as many as welcomed them back from Oxford a week before. We could have had as many as 750, maybe even 800 people there waiting for them, and this has never happened in baseball for Murray State. And people, like I said, people have just caught fire with it, and they want to be part of it. You talk to people. There was a guy that I know down here or up here from y'all. I've known him for several years now. He brought his son with him, and he said, we're going to go to this thing. You know why? Because we need to see it. And these guys have been pretty good to you too, because his son plays baseball. He coaches baseball. You just hear these stories. People want to be part of this, and they're just fully immersed in it, and it's a beautiful thing. It really is.
John, if I had talked to you in April, were there any warning signs that you could say, hey, let me tell you what, this group's pretty good. Don't be surprised if they boom. Was there anything like that?
Okay. I'm glad you asked that, because I'm going to hype this as much as I can. 3 years ago, we joined the Missouri Valley Conference. And as I told you in our conversation yesterday, the Missouri Valley Conference is a powerful, powerful league in all sports. You go back to I was a little kid watching the Missouri Valley Conference. Now, I know they're not there, but Wichita State was in the Missouri Valley Conference. They were a baseball superpower in the nation. They were going to Omaha almost every year back then. Creighton had a real good team. Alan Bennis, who came out of Evansville, I think he did join his brother Andy
Sure.
with the Cardinals at one point. He was Creighton's ace at the one year they went to the World Series, and everyone's fallen in love with them because they were the team from Omaha, and they had a huge home field advantage, which they did. But here lately, you remember 2 years ago, Indiana State, they reached the Super Regional. Last year, Evansville. And you're talking, I know you were a Vanderbilt guy for a long time down there. I'm a Vol fan, sorry. But Evansville scared the devil out of Tennessee last year. They almost ended Tennessee's season before they got to Omaha by winning Game 2 of the Super Regional. And the next day for Game 3, a lot of the talk was Tennessee's pitching they better have a guy who can go 6 or 7 innings today because their pitching is way down and Evansville may get them. That's the league we're coming from, George. Yes, in April, there were warning signs. Missouri State and Southern Illinois were two of the best teams. A lot of people were giving them a lot of attention, especially Missouri State, they were pretty much in the lead. They were pretty much in the lead of the MVC the whole way from the beginning of the season. Murray State, though, was right there the whole time. They had a rough go early on in the Valley season, got swept by Evansville, believe it or not, here in Murray. And Evansville turned out to not have a great season. Well, the Racers kept getting better. They kept winning series, winning 2 out of 3, and sometimes they swept teams. And all of a sudden, we come to the end of April, going into March, and they had Southern Illinois and Missouri State back-to-back coming to Murray. And that's when things started really, really going a little bit crazy. They won 2 of 3 from SIU. That now put them 1 game behind Missouri State for the final series of the year. Unfortunately, the rain we had a whole lot of rain in late April, early May, and they only played 1 game of a 3-game series for the Missouri Valley Championship. But that 1 game was won by Murray State 16-5, and that tied Missouri State for the Valley title. They were taking a ton of momentum into the Valley tournament, and they went 4-0 in the Valley tournament, and you've seen what they've done since then. This team has really, really peaked at the right time, George.
John, tell me about Dan Skirka, because from afar, he seems like a very likable person who is pushing some buttons that seem like every time he pushes one, it works.
I became the sports editor in August of 2021. So when they were in the last year of the Ohio Valley Conference, that was the first years that I dealt with Skirka. I have never had a bad moment with him. There's a lot of beat writers who cannot say that with their coaches. I have not had a sideways moment with Dan Skirka, and from what I understand, for a lot of people, there's not a whole lot of sideways moments anyone has had with Dan Skirka. He is absolutely everything he looks like he is on TV. Calm, cool, collected, never gets too high, never gets too low. He does occasionally get fired up in the dugout after a game when he's trying to pump up his guys after a big win. You'll hear his voice get a little bit high, but that's about it. He tries to keep an even keel. Obviously a man of God, as you may have seen his comments after the game Monday night, which, it explains everything. He's just such a down-to-earth person, and you feel so good for him because he's just a great baseball guy. He absolutely loves this game. And my mom and dad, they visited down here from Paducah briefly this morning, and my dad asked me. He said, "What's he like?" I said, "He's exactly what he looks like. He is one of the nicest people you'll ever meet, and you want to root for him." And yeah, I think a lot of people are doing that right now with him.
I want to ask one last thing, and then I'll turn it over to Kelly Holcomb. The Monday night in Oxford, they jumped to this big lead. I think it was 12-3. And then in the last 3 innings, the level of pressure and tension on Murray State's team, just you could feel it in the television, and yet they never cracked. And to me, that's the greatest achievement of this whole thing. It's not Duke. Duke, although a very good baseball team, doesn't have the fan base to create what Ole Miss did. What have you heard about that night in Oxford and the level of pressure those players were feeling?
I'm glad you brought that up because I want to bring a personal thing in here. I was not able to be there because I'd had to attend a funeral that day for someone very special, my uncle from over in East Tennessee. Along with my dad, my uncle, his name was Robin. He was probably the biggest educator to me on Tennessee football. And we had to have his funeral that day, so that's why I was not able to be in Oxford. And on the way back, I'm watching the score on my phone, and we're up 12-3, and my wife's driving, and I'm telling her, you know what, we may make this, but I was kind of doing like Dan Skirka. I was not getting too high and too fired up because I knew Ole Miss had a big offense. And here goes the score. 12-3 becomes 12-5. Then it becomes 12-7. We walk in the door, and that's when they hit the Ole Miss fans can argue this all they want. It was a wind-aided home run for a 3-run shot that pulled them within 1 run in the 8th inning, and they still had only 1 out. You know, you've seen this all the time. A team who's more established with all this stuff. They were the 2022 College World Series champions. They still had 3 guys left over from that team. They're going to blow right past us, right? Just like Sovereignty did journalism in the Belmont the other day. Well, Graham Kellum, and I'm doing a story on him, right? And it's funny how this is working out. I'm doing a story on him and comparing him to a fireman. You remember the old Rolaids Relief Man of the Year award they had?
Oh, sure. Put the fire out.
It was a fire helmet, basically. And that's what Graham Kellum has been. He has been the fireman for this team, and he gets 2 of the most dangerous hitters for Ole Miss, strikes them out. Then he gets 2 strikes to end the inning, and then he gets 2 strikeouts to begin the next inning, and then the harmless fly out to end the game. Graham Kellum is a rock, and he is the perfect personification of what this team's about. He is ice to fire, and there's a lot of guys who have that. They were not afraid of the moment. And, again, that's all Dan Skirka. He has made these guys unafraid of a big moment, and I think that makes them incredibly dangerous for Omaha.
Kelly, say hello to John Wright.
John, how you doing?
I'm going to blow your mind. You know someone in my life, pal.
Who's that?
He was your offensive guard at MTSU, James Counts.
Oh, my man, James Counts, man. James came over to the house not too long ago, a couple of weeks ago. He was my teammate, at Middle I was with him there for all 4 years. He's taking the Rockville job up here. So he wanted me to coach with him, but I told him I'd rather stay on air with George.
More money.
Yeah, George is giving me more money. James is a good one, man. I love him. He's a good football coach.
Sir.
Really is.
You darn tootin'. You darn tootin'.
Hey, so John, let me ask you this. We talked about Dan Skirka, but like last year he had 37 wins. He's had 128 wins as a head coach up there. With all the success that's happening right now, it's inevitable. And this is what's happening in college sports. We've talked about the NIL and the transfer portal, but coaches have been doing this forever. But like, can Murray State keep Dan Skirka now? Because now all the eyes and attention are on kind of him.
I've heard a lot of talk, nothing real serious right now, obviously, because it's all about the College World Series. But I think a lot of people here are resigned to it. I don't know what our athletic director, Nico Yanko's got up his sleeve. He has really done an amazing job with this program. I don't know if you've noticed, Kelly, but since the turn of the new year, Murray State, now the rifle program is still in the OVC, but they won the OVC championship for the 18th, 19th year, one of those. The women's tennis program won the Valley, which is the Missouri Valley. They won that for the second year in a row in the regular season. Couldn't quite pull off the postseason tournament championship. The women's basketball program won the Valley for the first time since they've been in it. And now we have this with baseball. We also had an individual golfer win the overall championship for the men's tournament. Nico Yanko has done an amazing job. He's doing something very, very similar to what Tom Jurich did at U of L, I thought. Every sport is getting better. And if there's a way to keep him, he's going to find it. But a lot of people are kind of thinking, yeah, Dan's probably going to be getting a bigger gig here, but and he would deserve it. No one would be mad if he went for it, but there's always hope, right?
There's always hope. You're absolutely right. So let me just ask you this about the team. When I was playing under Coach Donnelly, we came up to Murray a couple of times. The horse didn't get too much action when we played him, but
one of those
he would always talk about a bell cow on a team. Like who is the leader of this baseball team? Like it seems like you got some tough, gritty kids. Like who is the leader of this baseball team?
Okay, we've had there's several candidates. There are several candidates on the scene, but I think the guy who people are revolving around, and he's the guy who was holding the trophy both Monday night and when they got off the bus yesterday, is our third baseman, Carson Garner. And he has had an amazing run. He's been here all 4 years. And when he started out, he had some issues with fielding. Last year, he had apparently it was a rough year. He was scored as having several errors, but if you took a closer look, maybe those should have been scored differently. They should have been hits because he was actually making pretty good plays and was getting errors for him. Not sure he was scored correctly on that. In talking to some other people who saw more games than I did, most of those were on the road, by the way, I think. So, and I don't go to too many of those on the road for baseball season. It's just too many high school and other things going on here. But Carson, I think he is the ringleader, and he deserves that mantle. He's tough. He has made some incredible plays this year. His errors have dropped dramatically. So he's absolutely the definition of the toughness. The other candidate would be Jonathan Hogart, who was the most outstanding player in Durham. He's the nation's leader in leadoff home runs now with 8. I fully expect him to hit one on Saturday, honestly, but because those are so unexpected, it's almost become old hat for him. I mean, he opened Friday night in Oxford with a bomb against Ole Miss and just set the tone. He's a tone setter, and he's made some great plays out in the outfield. And there's also another guy, Dustin Mercer, who's a right fielder. People have not been talking about the home run saving catch he made against Duke Monday night, where he went over the fence to went above the fence to grab the ball. If he doesn't do that, Duke wins the game. So, and he's got over 200 hits in his career here at Murray State. He transferred from Virginia Tech, which is a good program. Those 3 guys, any one of them could be the so-called ring leader, I think.
Gotcha. So, John, just a quick hitter. My son was up there last year playing football, gone now. But I told George and them, I said, when I went by the baseball field, man, hopefully this run to the College World Series can get y'all a new scoreboard, brother. I'm sorry, but that's not a good one. That looked like it was built in 1963.
it's had some weather problems. It's had some hail stones hit it. It's had some wind try to knock it over. Our wall has been ripped apart by hail and wind. I mean, we've had some bad storms here in the last few years that have just wreaked havoc on not just the Murray State facility. It's wreaked havoc on Callaway County and Murray High as well. I mean, no program has been untouched from Mother Nature. And hopefully we can get a break from that, because it's really been tough. But I'm hearing rumors that something is in the works to try and do something about that. Yeah, I think maybe this run of the World Series might just help that.
John, appreciate you taking the time. I told the guys earlier that, I've heard this about the roster, that a lot of them are older guys that have been with Dan in this program for a while, and some of them transfers from, Power 5, Group of 5 schools. I want to give you, you don't have to run through the whole roster, but the starting 9, how many of those guys are Power 5, Group of 5 transfers that are older guys that have kind of carried the load for this team? Because I said that earlier. I want to fact check myself.
Well, you may not be exactly correct on this one. Most of our transfers have come from smaller places, believe it or not. Division, our ace pitcher, Nick Shuddy, he came from a small school that not a Power 5 at all. Dustin came from Virginia Tech, but that was about 2 or 3 years ago. Will Veerling, our catcher, now he did come from a big time program. He came from U of L. Our first baseman, Luke Mastoni, the guy who had the go-ahead home run Monday night and had the last out after the third out that wasn't, and then we had to get it back again. He came from Cal State Fullerton, which is a big power in college baseball, but they're not a Power 5 team though. They are from like the Mountain West or something like that. But there's not really been a whole lot of Power 5 transfers with us, and that might be something else that's kind of interesting with this bunch right here.
Man, that tells you that in the college baseball, in this sport, it's really it's about who's hot at the right time, who's playing well at the right time. And for this Murray team, John, is that a lot of what has helped them? They got hot at the right time. They've hit the baseball. That's obviously been a big thing, but just getting hot at the right time and playing good baseball, that matters so much in this sport.
It is very, very interesting that we played Ole Miss. And by the way, I have a cousin, Jenny. She's a huge Ole Miss person, so we've had we've gotten along real well. But she's been we've been razzing each other a little bit about that. But anyway, she's over in West Tennessee in the town of Halls. But anyway, Ole Miss and Murray State seasons are really, really similar, I think, because Tim Elko said it. He's got the statue to prove it down in Oxford. Don't let the Rebels get hot. Well, I think we got the don't let the Racers get hot thing going right now, because Murray State's on fire, and they're carrying a lot of momentum into Omaha.
Love this story. John, first of all, thank you for coming on today. Trust me, I'm probably going to be calling you to come back on Monday, and I'm going to want you to tell people just how cool Omaha is. I've been there. You are in for a real treat.
You told me that, and I'm going to tell you something, man. I told you this last night. One of the dreams of mine would have been to have had several family members go out to Omaha and have a vacation. That would have been a real fun thing. Well, now getting that chance to go out there, it's almost like it's a little full circle, a little late, but it's still, it carries over that dream that I had, and getting the chance to see Omaha and getting the chance to take my wife's hand and walk across that pedestrian bridge into the state of Iowa and check off another state that I've never been to. That's going to be incredible this weekend.
I love it. John, thank you for doing this.
All right, man. God bless you guys, and y'all keep up the good work down there.
John Wright is the sports editor of the Murray Ledger, and we thank him for taking the time. After the break, we're going to talk about why this is such a cool story. Stay tuned. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
Nashville Sounds Baseball is back in Hit City for the 2025 season. Create a summer of memories at the ballpark with weekly giveaways, fireworks shows, and more. Tickets are on sale now.
If you are paying too much for your health insurance, you know what? You need to contact the folks at Pancoast Benefits. Pancoast works with businesses and individuals to tackle the high cost of health insurance. Whether you're a business owner, large or small, self-employed, between jobs, or over the age of 65 and in need of a Medicare plan, Pancoast can help. They make understanding your benefits less difficult and more personal. So check them out today, pancoastbenefits.com, or call them at 615-292-3400.
Major insurance companies, we help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
Two total screw-ups of humongous proportions.
Sports. We're not living in an era where perfection is necessary.
They thought they were a championship contending team.
Here, we told you not to do this. Your sports live here.
On ESPN 94.9. The Fan.
And the Game Nashville Sports Network.
It's the George Plaster Show.
Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
I'm getting here. There's nothing scientific to this, that I have watched the movie Hoosiers 25 times.
I've seen it more, George. I bet I've seen it 50.
Tell me why it is you always watch it.
It's the true American spirit, the underdog story, the smallest school in the state of Indiana. They didn't have classifications back then. So the smallest school in the state of Indiana plays one of the bigger schools in the state of Indiana and ends up winning the game. I mean, it's a true Hollywood theme. It's a true underdog story. I love it. Every time it's on, I have to watch it. I mean, when I pass it, I have to watch it. I mean, Gene Hackman's in it, rest his soul, but it was just so good of a movie. It was so well put together. It just shows the embodiment of our country. I mean, I really think that. I think that it's what the 50s and 60s and 70s used to be like. And it was, I just love it, man. I cannot get past it. Every time it's on, I have to watch it. I bet I've watched it at least 50 times.
So I was trying to think during the commercial break, what is the single biggest sports upset that I have ever gotten the chance to see? And there are a bunch of different ones that popped through my mind. Kelly, one of them was the night MTSU at Memorial Gym beat Kentucky in the NCAA tournament. And by the way, cost me a fortune, because 1 year out of college, I had a bunch of tickets and I was getting ready to scalp me some Kentucky Louisville, and your school squashed it. No, it didn't happen.
Didn't happen.
Is Middle? Hold on. Is Middle a part of two of the biggest upsets in
Yes.
college? That's wild.
Yeah.
Against Michigan State. Yeah.
The NCAA wanted to pair Kentucky and Louisville, but they didn't want to make it that obvious in 1982. So they had a first-round matchup of Kentucky MTSU at Memorial Gym, the winner to take on Louisville on Saturday. Well, everybody knew who the winner was going to be, except somebody forgot to tell Middle. So the NCAA a year later, and this is where they were completely full of bull, they decided as a committee, we're not going to screw around with this. Kentucky and Louisville will play in the opening game at Stokely Center in Knoxville. First time they'd played in about 50 years. So I've just gotten through reading a book Al Michaels wrote. And Al Michaels, you think about it, has done all these Super Bowls. He's done all these different great sporting events in his career. But the truth of it is, the United States Soviet Union hockey game is the one he says that people come up to him the most to talk about. Here's a little bit of the backstory. I was in college. It was on a Friday afternoon. ABC was pissed because they wanted that game to be in prime time. But instead, Nashville time, it was somewhere in the 3:30 to 5:30 range, where there's so many people still at work that ABC was not allowed to capture the huge number that it would have gotten if it had been in prime time. But here is maybe the call of the greatest upset in my lifetime.
I agree.
Let's hear it.
We actually don't have it. I thought we had it back at the station.
Okay. Do you believe in miracles? Yes.
I think another one was the night that Buster Douglas defeated Mike Tyson.
Ooh, yes. Yeah.
I mean, nobody ever saw that coming, and I don't know how big of a favorite Mike Tyson was, but he'd been knocking people out in the first round, second round. Nobody wanted to fight him, and Buster Douglas was. Everybody saw him as this washed-up used car salesman whose body was terrible, and he actually trained for that fight, and he was ready for that fight, and Tyson was not. And I remember. I think I watched it. I think I was able to watch it some way, and that was one of the ones for me that like nobody ever thought that. We were expecting Mike Tyson to knock Buster. I think it was in Japan, if I'm not mistaken, or somewhere.
I think you're right.
Yeah, it was in the Far East somewhere, and it didn't turn out well for old Mike. That was his first loss.
He hit me very hard. He hit me so very hard. The thing that I remember that night, Kelly, I was on press row at an Ole Miss Vandy basketball game in Oxford, and word spread like wildfire. Yep. Tyson got knocked out by Buster Douglas.
Nobody even knew Buster Douglas.
No. I jotted down a couple more. Here's one that a lot of people have forgotten. George Mason. I don't even know who the hell George Mason is. I just know that whoever he is, he's had a school named after him. George Mason made the Final Four in 2006.
Oh, wow. I didn't even remember that.
Yeah.
No clue.
And so here's Murray State. We've known a lot about them through their OVC days, now Missouri Valley Conference. 300 that are playing on the Division I level, 292 have been sent packing. And Murray State's one of the 8 that's still there. That's pretty doggone cool.
Y'all think they can make a little bit of noise in Omaha?
I think they can beat UCLA, but after that, not much hope. Because you got LSU and Arkansas on the other side.
Here's one of the things that makes it tough, Kelly. They have lived by offense, and that park is where fly balls go to die.
Yeah, it's
that
big.
place
I've heard that.
is Mammoth Cave.
Yeah, it's not like Rosenblatt.
No, and they could use, because, I mean, I think they've been in two parks that were pretty fair, Ole Miss and Duke, where you can get balls out. I mean, clearly their strength is in their offense. And I think they pitch just good enough to, when it mattered, to pull it off. I don't think their pitching's great, but this is a park that you better know how to play small ball, because it's a lot different than a lot of the college campuses where your fences are fairly short. This place is Mammoth Cave.
You've got to steal outs. You have to, if you have outfielders that can really run, that's the way to go. You remember Hunter Ensley for Tennessee last year, stole some runs, took away some runs for the other team. And, you've got to hit some out of the ballpark too, but you've got to pitch it really well. And you wonder if Murray can hold up on the mound. I mean, they have so far. They've done just enough on the mound. But I hope they keep winning.
Most importantly, I hope they have a blast.
Yeah.
Because to me, and I know this is wrong to say this or feel this, but they've achieved the victory getting there. Oh. And I know their coach will do everything he can to squash that attitude. But Kelly, that's a cause for celebration at that school.
No, you're absolutely right. John was talking about it. Now, football, they're a little lacking, but all the other sports, they can compete. And I don't think they're where they're at, because I think that the Murray State people thought it'd be a little bit different in basketball. But you're talking about the Missouri Valley Conference, and John's right. That's a really, really, really good conference. You got all these basketball teams. You got, when you go to football, you got the North Dakota, South Dakota State. All those teams up there really good. Every team in that league is really good, and Murray State's holding up on in all of them, with the exception of football. So I'm happy for them. That's a really cool story, and I hope they do make some way. I don't know if they can, but it is a victory. And I know the coach, like you said, he's going to say everything to say we're not here just to be here, but just getting there is really triumphant for those guys.
Kelly, after the break, we will have Stat of the Day, where our little cheering crew underneath here, the interns, say we have no chance to get this.
It's shocking.
Yeah.
It's some absurd question that they couldn't answer.
You know what? Screw them. We're going to show them who Daddy is next on 94.9 The Fan.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. They don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to theGameNashville.com.
The password we're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network. Listen on the air.
So don't tell me to chill out.
On the web at theGameNashville.com.
This team has strategically put themselves back in the mix.
Watch us on YouTube or download the Game Nashville app.
You have to make those plays.
Your sports live here on the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Give Dad what he really wants this Father's Day with gifts from Electronic Express. We've got the latest tech, hottest grills, and top-of-the-line home entertainment to help you celebrate Father's Day in style. Looking for appliances to help him finish that kitchen project? We've got that too, with free delivery, guaranteed lowest prices, and up to 24 months free financing. Make this Father's Day one he'll remember. Shop in store or online at electronicexpress.com.
Nashville, the semifinals of the PFL World Tournament begin Thursday, June 12th. Former welterweight world champion Jason Jackson takes on rising star the Silverback Thad Gene, plus 2023 PFL World Champ Jesus Pinedo and Gabriel Braga collide in a highly anticipated trilogy match. Don't miss your chance to see the action live June 12th at Municipal Auditorium in Nashville. Visit pflmma.com/schedule for more info.
Your sports live here. WBUZ HD3 Laverne. All around the world on the Game Nashville app. We are the Game Nashville Sports Network, ESPN 94.9, The Fan, a Cromwell media station.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
McCormick coming up with first stat of the day, brought to you by Apple Collision Centers. You can find them in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, or Gallatin. Give them a call, 615-754-9800, or log on to their website. That's applecollisioncenters.com. All right, we're going to MLB. The Athletic polled MLB players and asked players, which pitcher would you least like to face in Game 7 of the World Series? Who was the top answer?
This is, of course, a question that
active players
that you all down below have said they have no chance at.
Yeah, this is right.
I think they'll have no shot.
Kelly.
Yeah.
Guess what?
What are we doing? You got it?
You're dadgum right, I do.
Who is it?
Atlanta Brave left-hander Chris Sale. Put it on the board, yes.
You saw the poll, didn't you?
Darn right I did.
Oh, my God. I knew that.
Yes.
I knew that was going to happen.
Now, I will say this. Okay, can you enlarge who the list is? Or just read us who the list was. So Major League Baseball players were asked who you would least like to face. Tarek Skubal from the Tigers was next. No problem there. Zach Wheeler from the Phillies. No problem there. Aroldis Chapman.
Not right now.
Not right now, but I will say this. Looks like he's gotten some of the juice back in the fastball.
What's he topping at right now?
He's in that 100-101 range.
Ooh.
Duran, I get. Paul Skeens, I get. Spencer Strider, I get. Blake Trinan?
I don't get that one.
Good Lord.
DeGrom? I thought he may be higher.
DeGrom's been pretty good this year. Framber Valdez with the Astros, that one surprised me a little bit. Good for Chris Sale.
But Chris Sale, I understand Chris Sale because you take one at bat together. That's probably the least fun at bat for any hitter.
He's got this funky off to the side Randy Johnson kind of motion. In fact, his motion looks exactly like Randy Johnson's did.
Yeah.
So there.
George, how'd you get that? Did you have help?
I read it about 2 hours ago.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I did not know this was what they were going to throw out there.
Yes.
But when I saw it, I was like, oh, yeah.
So whatever, fellas.
Yeah,
go play in the street.
Daddy's home.
Yeah, go play in traffic.
Okay, are we officially into the 4 o'clock hour?
Yep.
That's wonderful. We are going to talk some Titans football with Terry McCormick, who, with his new shades, I think the nickname should stick, the Professor. Terry, how you doing?
I don't know. Whenever I hear the Professor, I think of Gilligan's Island and inventing, radios out of coconuts or whatever.
I think of Pete Van Wieren, the former Braves announcer who was nicknamed the Professor. How about that?
There you go.
Okay, so are we starting with Billy? Did you actually do some work on this?
I did. There's a clip out there. It's about a minute and a half long of Terry. I know you're probably in this press conference of Brian Callahan. It's kind of run wild on Twitter. He was asked about Cam Ward and some of the trash talk, and just take a listen.
I'm not used to calling plays to a quarterback who's usually still talking when I'm talking to him. And that's great. And so I asked him after practice, and I said, just help me out here. I said, do you need me to wait till you finish? And he goes, no. He goes, I'm listening. So he's hearing what I'm telling him. And it was a pretty remarkable to see all the things going on and how much he's talking, but like his brain is still like with me, I guess is the best way to put it. Like when I'm calling a play, he's doing all he's doing, but he's listening to everything I'm telling him. And he enters right into the huddle and he calls a play and doesn't script the play call. And I thought that was actually kind of remarkable. I don't know, I couldn't do that. So that's just kind of who he is. That's his personality. And again, if it was something that I felt like was detrimental to his ability to manage the offense and call it in a huddle and all that, I'd probably have a couple things to say to him, but he didn't miss a beat when it came to calling the play and being on top of it and then executing when it came time to execute. So it was a new experience for me, but it was fun.
So, Terry, is it simply Jeffrey Simmons or are others now chirping in as well?
No, it's mostly Jeffrey Simmons. He's been the one that's been the most visible and the most noticeable in terms of, the back and forth. And Simmons said yesterday that it was kind of predetermined. I guess he saw Ward on Saturday and told him that to get ready because he would be engaging in such shenanigans, shall we say.
And Ward is able to engage right back?
Yes. I mean, that's kind of his reputation. It's kind of a part of what makes him is that he seems, very confident, especially for a rookie. And I guess that's something that you want in a quarterback, to be able to, have that charisma and that bravado. And the biggest thing, of course, will be, can he back it up?
Can he back it up?
Well, he looked good yesterday. Today was a little different story. He missed on a few balls, and the 2-minute drill looked a little bit ragged, but, there were still plenty of good throws that he made, that you go, hey, this kid's got something. It's a process. He's a rookie. There are plays where he looks really, really good. There are plays where he looks like a rookie who has to still figure things out. So, I think it's just going through that whole process. And Kelly will tell you the same thing, that there are days that, as the old saying goes, sometimes you're the windshield and sometimes you're the bug. And when you're a rookie, you're the bug a lot more often until you start learning things and that sort of thing. And then you become the windshield more often.
I think that's the hardest thing, though, George, is being a quarterback. You're used to being successful in college and having good things happen. And then the pros, man, you've got to be able to stand up to that because it's going to be an up and down battle, especially when you're a rookie and you don't know all the ins and outs. You're still learning the offense. It's different for you. You're playing against guys that are really fast, really big, really strong, and you're going to have some great days like he had the other day. I think he completed 18 straight passes to end practice, and then the next day or today was kind of, it was an up and down deal. So you go from this high, and then you have a little bit of low, and you've got to be able to kind of stay right in the middle, and that's the biggest difference from coming to college to the pros, to be able to adjust to that and just say, hey, there's things when you practice bad, you can't get down in the doldrums. You just have to say, hey, this is what I got to get better at, and I got to go out tomorrow and get better at them. And then when you do good, you got to say, hey, there's still things I can work on just to get even better.
So, Terry, here's one of these questions where you may look at me and go, good Lord, how do you expect me to answer this? But this is the kind of thing that people that are out there that are not able to be there every day in practice would love to know from somebody like you who's been out there. So think back to when Will Levis was in this same position 2 years ago, coming in first stuff of OTAs. Where is it obvious to you that Cam Ward is better than Will Levis, ahead of him, if you will? And where are some places where you say, no, Will Levis was better at that point than Ward is right now?
Well, to be fair, it was a completely different offense when Levis was a rookie. And he probably fit that better than what he fits Callahan's system because he's kind of having to learn that. To my way of thinking, Levis is your classic play action, throw over the top, throw outside the numbers type of quarterback. And I think that contributed to some of his struggles last year because this offense is not necessarily suited to a lot of that the way when it's run in its purest form. Cam Ward excels between the hashes and over the middle and kind of, zipping the ball out quickly and getting it to where it needs to go. And I think, Ward has shown to be very decisive. He looks good. He looks clean in the pocket. He's not hesitant or anything like that. I'd say that that's probably an advantage that he has. And I think plus at the time, you remember when Levis was a rookie, they still had Ryan Tannehill. So Levis was really on the slow track to develop and probably wouldn't have played a whole lot had Tannehill not gotten hurt. Ward, however, appears to be on the fast track, and they're trying to get him ready to play as soon as possible because I think most everybody anticipates that he's going to be the starter week 1 in Denver. So it's a different trajectory, a different system, but there are similarities where you see him do well in each quarterback. They did well in a certain area, and you note that as a strength, and then there are areas where you see the obvious need to work and improve. And I think that that's one of the things that Cam Ward is going through right now. But he does seem to be picking things up and seems to be learning and seems to be moving along in the system, probably at a much faster rate than Will Levis, if only for the fact that they're fast tracking him and he's getting a very high percentage of the reps versus what Levis got during his first season.
Kelly, just out of curiosity, when you were a pro football quarterback in the various places you were in things like OTAs, did players on the other side try to talk trash with you?
Oh yeah, there's all the time stuff going on. It happens in one-on-ones. When you get a receiver and a quarterback going against each other, they're talking the whole time. They're talking before they get into practice. I mean, they're talking in the locker room. Then they get out there to stretch, and they're still talking. So it's you got a bunch of testosterone, George. You got a bunch of men out there that are competing, and there's always some heated exchanges. But that's what makes it fun. That's what makes us practice fun. You don't want to go out there and be in the doldrums. You want to have fun with it, and that's part of it. I mean, you come from these programs and you're a highly competitive guy, and you think you're the best thing. If you're not a pro player and you don't think you're the best thing out there, then why should you be there? So, yeah, there's a lot that goes on each and every day and each and every snap.
Kelly, it's even worse if an announcer is talking the trash. So they were in Donnie Nicky's rookie year. They're out there and we're doing the show live and nobody really knows who he is, but I know that he went to Ohio State. We come out of the break. I said, Willie, you ever been to the Horseshoe in Columbus, Ohio? And, they're down on the ground stretching and I see Donnie Nicky trying to listen. And Willie goes something like, no, I've never been there. And I said, well, it's the house that Donnie Nicky built. And all of a sudden he gives it one of those.
Nice. Nice stuff.
Yeah. So go ahead. You got stuff for Terry.
Terry, I was thinking this, and I don't know if you can answer this, but Tom Moore used to always say, when you're not very good, you don't have any tendencies, but when you're good, you have a bunch of tendencies, So I'm just thinking, like last year, it didn't seem like, and I don't even know if you can know this right now because they're not in pads, but like last year, it didn't seem like they had an identity. It seemed like they were searching for stuff. Has it changed, you think, in practice this year? Or are they still looking?
Yeah, I think they're still kind of looking, but I think it's certainly good. They're going to go as Cam Ward goes in terms of, the type of player that he is. I think, it's obvious that they're going to build around him and what he does and try to do that for the long haul because, I think that this kid has the type of confidence. Obviously, he's the number 1 overall pick, so that he's going to be the face of the franchise. And I think that they are doing what they can to accentuate his skill set and to give him the types of weapons that he needs. I think they want to give him, the tools that he needs to make this offense successful and in turn himself be successful. So I think it's a situation where that identity will evolve over time as Cam Ward becomes more of, a concrete in terms of what he is as a quarterback and how he operates.
Okay, so I was looking. Calvin Ridley obviously came in. He missed a couple of years, but he came in last year. He had an okay year. Everybody was kind of struggling, but I'm not sure if he's a number one guy anymore. But like, who and how is the receiver? And what I'm asking is the receiver room. But what I'm asking here is, has anybody looked good? Because I was looking at some Van Jefferson stuff. Has Van Jefferson done well this mini camp OTAs?
Yeah, Jefferson's actually had some plays where he's looked pretty good, and that was something that we talked about on the sideline today as we were watching practice. We were talking about how it's really hard to tell without pads on, but in this portion of the off season, from what we've seen, Van Jefferson looks like a guy who can help this team. Of the rookie receivers, I would probably say I've been most impressed with Io Manor because he's a big guy. He can run a little bit, and he's just a big target. And I think he's a guy that certainly is starting to get on the same page with both Ward and Will Levis during the practices. It seems like that every day that I've been out there, he's made at least one play that you go, hey, that was pretty good. And so I think that's a guy that is maybe starting to turn it up a little bit among the rookies. Obviously, you have Ward with the chemistry that he has with Xavier Restrepo, the undrafted, his Miami teammate. And then Chimere Dike, the other rookie, he shows some flashes of speed, but it's going to be an uphill battle for this wide receiver core. And I think, the extra added mix in there, because we've not seen him in any team drills so far, is Tyler Lockett, and whether or not he still has something left in the tank and can bring something to the table.
So, I was also reading an article about Arden Key. How's Arden Key? He's looked pretty good, and it seems like the coaches have kind of talked about his leadership. Like, they need somebody to lead. We talked about Jeffrey Simmons, and I was going to ask you too how he looks, but let me ask about Arden Key. They talked about how they like his leadership skills, because somebody on that defense, you talked about it the other day, like Kevin Byard. You had a few guys, Kevin Byard and a few others, but like Jeffrey Simmons doesn't seem like he likes to step in. But it seems like Brian Callahan and the coaches have really liked what Arden Key has done so far. He was kind of a bright spot on that defense. He's had some sacks last year, but how has he stepped up as a leader?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. He's been quieter, actually. He normally is
really,
kind of a talkative guy, kind of a class clown almost. But he's actually been quieter here during this camp. And I think they're using him they may use him in more situations where they don't wear him down, because they brought in Draymond Jones. They brought in Lorenzo Carter. They drafted Femi Oladejo. So those four guys are going to be your edge rotation, the primary guys. So it's going to be interesting to see kind of, who takes what in terms of the reps, because Carter would seem to be more of a first and second down guy, whereas Arden Key's strength would seem to be rushing the passer. And Oladejo is the wild card in this, because, how soon can you get him up to speed? How soon can he be an impact player? Because when you look at him, he looks the part. And one of the things that I asked Gentry Estes as we were watching on the sideline today, it's like, what could the coaches at UCLA have been thinking? You can find a 5'11", 230-pound guy to play middle linebacker all day long at the college level. Why are you taking this 6'2", 240-pound specimen and wasting him inside when he should have been an edge rusher all along?
Wow. So, this is my last question. As a quarterback, offensive line, how's the offensive line gelled so far? It seems like they've moved J.C. Latham. What's going on O-line wise? Because we all know that's where it starts up front on both sides of the ball. And last year, and we talked about it for many years now, they just have not been very good, and that's why Derrick Henry couldn't find any holes. But what have you seen so far? I know it's tough because they don't have pads, and that's what makes all this stuff tough. When you're in the OTAs, you really can't see anything, but how have they gelled just as an O-line so far?
Yeah, I mean, it seems like it's still a work in progress, because they don't have Lloyd Cushenberry right now. Corey Levin's having to play center while Cushenberry is still recovering from that Achilles injury. Dan Moore, they brought him in to try and finally solidify the left tackle spot. We'll see how that works out. Latham on the right side. I think Kevin Zeitler at right guard is going to be a nice addition, because that's going to give you a veteran, another guy who's, an old head who's been through the battles, that knows what to do and how to do it, and can kind of be a calming effect on everybody. And then kind of the unsung part of this is there will be some battles for the backup spots. And I think that, the last couple of years, they have struggled to put 5 guys out there who are actually NFL caliber players, much less when one of them goes down with an injury or, isn't performing up to standards, and you have to put in somebody else who probably belongs on a practice squad or something, and their play is even below par for what, the other guy was doing. And I think that the competition for the backup spots is going to be key too, because very few offensive lines make it through 17 games in a regular season without any injuries. And they've got to be able to have enough depth to overcome that if somebody misses 2 or 3 games.
Terry, I know I've asked you about this in the past, but we know new uniforms are coming. Do you know anything else on that front? A timeline potentially? We know Warren Moon released the news. I think you had already scooped that was probably coming, but any latest there?
Haven't heard anything else on it. My guess is it's going to coincide with the moving into the new stadium. I can't imagine why you would want to, unveil new uniforms, and not have it be in a brand new dome stadium that you're going to be playing in for the next 25 to 30 years, whatever it may be. So to me, I think, they're kind of keeping that as under wraps as they can. And then there'll probably be a big announcement to coincide moving into the new stadium.
Terry, hang with us. We're going to get some phone calls for you, if that's okay.
Sure.
Okay, I'm going to ask that the calls be for Terry and they be Titan related at 615-553-0933. Again, 615-553-0933. Go ahead and hit the phones. Some red-blooded Americans who want to talk football in June on 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
It's easy to say good things about the folks at Strike and Spare Family Fun Centers. Number one, I trust them with something that's near and dear to me, the Plaster and Friends Celebrity Bowling Night. But more importantly, I see the fun people have. They enjoy the bowling, they enjoy the camaraderie, and you will too. Come by any of their locations and get ready to have some fun.
Are you ready to begin? Trevecca Nazarene University. From calling to becoming.
Venture Express has been helping people in this area for more than 40 years. They're headquartered in Murfreesboro with over 30 years of dedicated fleets involving production, manufacturing, and corrugated experiences. They're an asset-based company with over 700 tractors, 4,000 trailers, and 800 drivers. If you need their help, dial them up 615-793-9500 or log on to ventureexpress.com.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women. because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Need their help? Dial them up, 615-793-9500, or log on to ventureexpress.com.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Tonight, it's Game 3 of the NBA Finals with the series tied at 1 as it shifts to Indiana. Our coverage begins at 6:30.
Your sports live here on 102.5 and 106.3 The Game and the Game Nashville app. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
We are going to take your phone calls for Terry McCormick, Main Street Media, TitanInsider.com. Terry, you ready?
Sure.
By the way, your boy, Aaron Judge, killing it.
He is a beast.
Whew.
Remember the stat I told you last night he's got a shot to do?
Lay it on us.
Yeah, he has a chance to. Babe Ruth has the most has the highest batting average by anybody ever in a 50 home run season. It was 378 in a year that he hit 59 homers. Aaron Judge has a real shot at that.
Incredible. That bomb he hit Sunday night on national TV to right center, my God.
He was made for Yankee Stadium.
Having seen him, the ball jumps off his bat differently than everybody else. Okay, great.
Helps when you're 6'7" and 260.
No kidding. Okay, you ready for some calls?
Sure.
And by the way, we've got room for a couple more of you at 615-553-0933. So jump in there. Let's start with Eric in Nashville. Eric, welcome to the show.
Hey, George, it's always a pleasure to talk to you, and certainly it's a pleasure to talk to Terry. George, one more quick one. As far as upsets, you was a boxing one too. Leon Spinks over Muhammad Ali was another one. So,
in New Orleans.
Yeah. Terry, my question is this, and there's so many different directions I'm going to go, but the one, of course, I think most Titans fans, a lot of Titans fans are concerned about is with Jerry Sneed, his whole situation, his off-the-field stuff, and his injury situation. Just how do you think he's going to respond this season? Do you think he's going to bounce back, or do you think that still could be a lingering issue? And how do you think all this stuff that he's going through is going to shake out? Guys, guys, y'all take care, and we'll talk again soon.
Okay, it's a really good question.
Yeah, right now, I don't know how much you can count on L'Jarius Sneed because I think he played in 5 games last year, and he had to have surgery on that quad. There were already concerns with his knee, and then you add in on top of that the legal matter that he is facing down in Texas, allegedly in a vehicle that shot at some cars on a car lot or shot at some people on a car lot, that sort of thing. Not a good scenario at all. I think this is one of those situations, George, where it could very well be taken out of the Titans' hands. If the league delves into this legal situation, they could suspend him for a number of games and take that problem off the Titans' hands in terms of will he be available or not.
Terry, when you say if the league steps in on this, when did the alleged incident occur and what are they waiting on? Because what you said sounds really serious.
Yeah, I mean, the incident apparently happened in December, but it wasn't reported until about April or maybe early May. So it's interesting in the timing of it, but certainly, a matter that the Titans are monitoring as well as the league is monitoring. And this on top of trying to get L'Jarius Sneed healthy enough to play if he's not, set back with a suspension.
Is he healthy enough at this point?
Who knows? We haven't seen hide nor hair of him on the practice field at any of the open sessions. So my guess would be no.
Okay, let me ask one more, and then we'll go to another call. Is he being held back because the NFL has told the Titans to hold him back?
Well, if that were the case, I would think that somebody, from local beat writers to your Adam Schefters and Ian Rappaports of the world would probably have broken that news. So I'm going to guess that is not the case. I'm going to guess that the reason he's not been made any appearances out there is more injury related. Although, like you say, it could be a situation too where once they put him out there and put him in front of the media, even once, they know that situation with the matter in Texas is going to be the first question asked.
Next call is Casey in Fairview, Tennessee. Casey, welcome to the show.
Hey guys, hey Terry, how you doing?
Good.
My question today is about Jeffrey Simmons. I know we kind of saw maybe he didn't come to OTAs, and obviously with the jawing with Cam Ward, y'all were talking about. What do you think of him as a leader of this team moving forward? Because some of the old leaders we had on the old teams, 2019 AFC Championship team, like Derrick Henry, Kevin Byard, all those guys, they're not on the team anymore. And Simmons is really one of the only guys left from that kind of old guard. And now we have a bunch of younger guys. So what do you think of Simmons' ability to kind of lead this team into the next phase of wherever they're going?
Well, I think when it comes to Simmons, I mean, obviously as maybe the best player on the team, and one of the most high profile, naturally he's going to be seen as a leader, whether that comes to him naturally or not. And I think that, in the case of Jeffrey Simmons, in a lot of ways, this leadership role has kind of been thrust upon him because, like you said, the Derrick Henrys, the Ryan Tannehills, the Kevin Byards are no longer around to absorb a lot of that. So
it's by default.
Yeah, by default, he's become one of the leaders. And, some guys are made to handle that. Some guys are not really, would rather just let that part of it go and not have to deal with that. But that's not the situation that the Titans are in, because you look at the last couple of years, you've been unsettled at almost every position. You've been in a situation where you've been breaking in young quarterbacks who, may or may not have leadership capability. And when you lose games, it's certainly harder to be a leader. And I think, some of what Simmons has been going through is the frustration of losing because this was a very good team for his first 2 or 3 years he was here. And now he's going through the part of it that's not so fun, where this team's been winning 3 to 6 games a year over the last couple of years. And it's probably taken a toll on him. And there have been times that, quite frankly, he hasn't handled it maybe as well as he could have or should have.
Terry, is the coaching staff trying to force leadership from him, or are they sort of saying, look, he is what he is, and that's what he is?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if you can really as a coaching staff, you can't really force leadership upon anybody. I think from what people have said about Cam Ward, he appears to be a natural leader. He appears to be a guy that teammates will gravitate to and that will rally around. And that's really what it takes to be a leader. There are 2 ways to be a leader. You can be a vocal leader. You can be that guy like Ward that teammates seem to gravitate and rally around. Or you can be a guy like Derrick Henry, who hardly says a word, but goes out and puts up 1,800 yards a year. People are gonna get behind that because it's successful. And honestly, for Jeffrey Simmons' sake, I think it would be better for him if he were more of the latter rather than trying to be the former, because I think sometimes when he's thrust into that role of trying to be the team's spokesman, that's where sometimes things kind of get off the rails.
Kelly, it looked like you wanted to throw something in there.
Well, I just don't. I think Terry hit it That's exactly what I was going to say. You can't thrust that on somebody. That's either comes to them naturally, and as a coaching staff, you have to understand the personality of your players, and you have to understand it goes through being around each other and gathering trust from each other. But they have to know that, hey, this guy is, we can't thrust it on him. It's either there or it's not. And I'm not sure that it's there. And I don't know if you can force it, but just like what Terry said, I think Cam Ward is everything that you want. And in the National Football League, you've got to have your quarterback as the leader of the team. That's just the ones that are winning. That's where it comes from. The head man on the team, which is the quarterback.
Let's go up to Portland, Tennessee. Darion, welcome into 94.9 The Fan.
Hi there. I got a question regarding the Titans receiving core. We have a lot of young receiving talent, a lot of young tight end talent as well. I'm just interested who y'all think is going to, if you have to pick 6 receivers or maybe if there's 7, who we think are going to be the ones that actually end up making the team.
Well, a lot of it remains to be seen, and you won't really know until you sort out in training camp and preseason. I just posted a story right before I came on the air, and it was about Xavier Restrepo. And obviously everybody knows, if you've been following the Titans and, since they've drafted Cam Ward, about the connection between Ward and Restrepo, who went undrafted because of the bad 40 time that was supposedly caused by the hamstring. Well, in that situation, for a guy like Restrepo and seriously a lot of these other guys who are not named Calvin Ridley or not named Tyler Lockett, it really comes down not only to can you catch the football, can you be in the right spot at the right time, but it's can you cover a punt? Can you carve out a role on special teams so that we can, put a place for you on the 53-man roster? Because most of the time, there are only going to be 3 receivers on the field at a time, maybe a 4th sometimes. But, in order to be active on game day and in order to be active on this 53-man roster, keep an eye on how all these guys do, whether it's Colton Dowell, whether it's the 3 rookie receivers or Van Jefferson or whoever. If they're not in that top echelon, keep an eye on what they do on special teams as much as what they do in the preseason games.
Which is going to lead to Kelly's obligatory Traylon Burks question, I'm sure.
No, I'm done with that. So he's got to start making some plays, though, man. Like I've never seen a guy stay on a team that's really done nothing. I mean, he's done nothing up until this point in his career, and I've never been around that, George. Once you do, like, as many times as he's done it, and as many times as I understand that he's had some injury problems, but you just can't count on him. And he's been it's 9 lives for him. I just don't understand. I've never seen it in my professional career.
It's the luxury of being a first-round pick, Kelly. That's the only thing I can attribute it to. Because you're right. He hasn't lived up to the billing of what he was supposed to be. And certainly some of that is not his fault because, he was the guy who came in to replace A.J. Brown, and nobody was going to replace A.J. Brown in that receiving core. And so that was a lot of added pressure that, subtly or not so subtly was put on him. And that's a situation where, he just hasn't lived up to it because of the hype and the injuries.
So, okay, Terry, before we go back to another call, let me ask this. So Burks walked in here with the toughest of circumstances. Everybody's saying, well, he's the next A.J. Brown. He's the one that they're drafting to make you forget the stupidity of the A.J. Brown move. If he had not had that burden, would this story have been any different?
If he could have stayed healthy, maybe. But you also have to remember, too, that, there was a certain rapport, and Kelly's talked about this a lot of times when we've been on here, how certain quarterbacks and certain receivers just have a knack for finding each other. And A.J. Brown was that guy for Ryan Tannehill. There's no doubt about that. I don't know that Traylon Burks would have ever gotten to that level. And then, of course, later on, it was Will Levis trying to get on that same page with Traylon Burks, and then Burks obviously had the injury issue. So to answer your question, it's very hypothetical, but I would say it would still have been a tall order.
Okay, in your mind right now, give me the top 5.
Top 5. All right.
Obviously, Ridley is one of them.
Ridley is one. I'll say Lockett. I'll say the 2 rookies in Manor and DK. They're locks to make the roster. And number 5 right now is probably Van Jefferson.
It's better than what they had last year.
Yeah, what does that say?
Not much, but
not much. I mean, it's an area that's been a concern for a long time.
Something I was going to ask Terry, though. I know we got another call. Can Cam Ward elevate these guys? Because Will Levis didn't do any of that last year. Can Cam Ward elevate a Tyler Lockett to what maybe Tyler Lockett couldn't do in the last couple years? Can he elevate a DK? Like, is that possible with this group?
Well, I mean, I think that's the big question with Cam Ward is how good a quarterback can he be? Can he be a guy who puts the team on his back like a Patrick Mahomes, a Joe Burrow, or Lamar Jackson and be a true franchise quarterback? Or is he going to be a guy that is just there and delivering the ball on time? Is he going to be more of, that second tier of quarterback, whoever you want to throw into that, like a Jared Goff type or something, where if you give him weapons, he can succeed. You can win either way. You saw the Vikings use Sam Darnold last year, who had been a complete draft bust earlier in his career, and they won 14 games. A lot of that was because they had a good offensive line, and he's throwing to Justin Jefferson and Jordan Addison. So that certainly elevated Sam Darnold's game. So the question is, if Cam Ward can be a guy who can elevate people, it goes back to what I used to say years ago. I said, you could put Lavelle Hawkins on the Colts, he'd catch 60 passes from Peyton Manning. You could put Austin Collie on the Titans, he'd catch 10 passes from their quarterbacks. That's the way it is.
Mm-hmm.
That's right.
Let me get to Chris in Nashville, who's been waiting patiently. Chris, welcome into the show.
Thanks for taking the call. I got a 2-parter, or 2 questions for Terry. The first would be, I know that you haven't had much time to see the rookies play and watch what they can do, but in this short amount of time, if you had to pick two of the rookies outside of Cam Ward to have the biggest impact for the Titans this season, who would you say those would be?
Is there a domestic dispute going on behind you?
I think he's calling from the zoo.
He is.
Yeah, it's a little loud. Sorry about that.
Yeah. Go ahead, Terry.
If I were going to take 2 of the rookies that besides Cam Ward to come in, I'll go back with Manor. I think he's going to be a decent receiver. I think he's got the size, got enough speed that he can come in and contribute some in year 1. And then the other guy that I really like is Gunnar Helm, the tight end. I think he's going to find a place. And then I'll even give you a third. I'll go with Oladejo. If he realizes his potential, I think he's a guy that can come in and be somewhat of an impact player fairly early on.
Terry, tell us about Gunnar Helm, because let's face it, a year ago, the tight end was a useless position. It's basically 4 yards in a cloud of whatever kind of turf that is. To me, either Chigakonkwo has regressed significantly, or offensively, they've decided that there's no point. So help me. Gunnar Helm better than Okonkwo?
I think he's different. Chig is more of a natural, athletic, get down the seam type of tight end that can, catch a pass and run after the catch. Gunnar Helm is more of a possession type of tight end. He can run some, but he's more of a guy who can do the inline blocking that you need from a tight end, but also get out in the routes and be a safety net for a quarterback. I think that's something that Cam Ward is going to need and is going to make some decent use of. But this Brian Callahan offense is really more, when it's run the way he wants to run it, it's really more three wide based, and it's more receiver friendly than it is tight end friendly. Now, that because of the Titans' limitations at wide receiver and because Cam Ward likes throwing over the middle of the field, you may see more 12 personnel than we saw last year. You may see, them use two tight ends and go and use Gunnar Helm and Chigakonkwo more as pass-catching weapons, given that they're a little bit limited at wide receiver. I think all that is to be determined. But for the most part, this is a three wide receiver based offense, the way it's been run in the past.
Terry, good stuff. Appreciate the update as always. We'll do it again soon, I'm sure.
All right. Sounds good.
Terry McCormick, Main Street Media, TitanInsider.com, joining us after the break. A few thoughts about what is different about the Titans this year than last year. And unfortunately, a lot of it should be aimed at people like me and others who bought into whatever, because we did buy into it. Anyway, we'll go to the break. This is 94.9 The Fan.
When I got my first car, my dad told me, keep the gas tank full and my number on speed dial. Now parents are telling their kids, save 615-242-9000 just in case. I'm Blair Durham. If you or someone you love is in a wreck, call us. We're here to get you the money you deserve.
This is my buddy Stan Harrison from Apple Collision Centers. Recently, you've been talking to me about companies that have a fleet of trucks and they're always in need of repairs.
That's right, George. We understand that nobody likes to deal with the auto body repair process. We try to simplify that at our 3 convenient locations. We work with all major insurance companies. We help to ease the stress of the auto body repair process. We're located in Old Hickory, Hendersonville, and Gallatin. If you need our services, please stop by and see us.
And how convenient that we have that in the background. Now, seriously, these are good folks. They do really good work. Give them a holler.
I trained my entire life to be the best. I was one of the fastest women in the entire country. But woke politics made me swim against a man, sharing the pool and the locker room. That's not just dangerous, it's degrading. Thank God for Marsha Blackburn. No one fights harder to protect us. Marsha Blackburn will always stand for strong women, because she's one of us.
I'm Marsha Blackburn, and I approve this message.
Nashville Sports Network. It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
On a Wednesday, time now for bet of the day. We got game 3 of the NBA Finals tonight, Pacers and Thunder.
Hey, Billy, not yet.
Oh,
not yet.
Billy, you talked about me, a C note. That's a huge C note right there, Hoss.
I totally lost track of time.
Is there such a thing as 1,000 note?
Good gracious, Billy, where are you at, man? Pick it up.
Let's spend a couple of minutes in all seriousness on what might be different. Kelly, I think we all got fooled, and shame on me and shame on a lot of us, that the free agent signings that they made, which today don't feel like they make as much sense as they did a year ago, I think we had expectations a year ago that just simply were not realistic. Shame on us.
I think you're right, George. I really do, and I was optimistic about it as well. But I go back to Dan Snyder a long time ago. Getting Bruce Smith and Deion Sanders and all those guys when it was the Redskins. I go back to that. You cannot win a championship just thinking that you're going to get high profile players or players that have played a bunch. They've got to be, there's a lot that goes into it. You got to gel with the team. You got to stay healthy, which L'Jarius Sneed has not stayed healthy. It's got to be the right fit. It's got to be the right combination. And for some reason it was not. I feel optimistic though with, the front office now, with the moves that they made during the draft. I think they've got a direction, but time will tell. We were talking the same trash last year, and it didn't work out. So you just never know. But I think if you're watching on YouTube, I think that guy is – I'm for him. I'm for any quarterback. I've told you that. I was hoping Will Levis was going to be that last year, but you were on him. Billy was on him. Everybody was on him. But I just told you, I haven't seen it in college. I didn't see it. And everything that he did last year was the same things he did in college. And I think this guy's different. I really do. But time will tell. He's got to stay healthy. He's got to get guys to protect him, and he can't turn the ball over. And I thought that was a pretty good clip with Brian Callahan was what he was talking about, because I've never been around that either. But, I watched a video of him and Shedeur Sanders, and, man, he was wearing Shedeur out when they were training together. And he's got a little bit of that spiciness that I had with his mouth. I mean, he can make you mad and want to fight you. So I think that's a lot of confidence, but he's got to go out and do it on the field.
So if we were totally unrealistic a year ago, and I'll raise my hand, I'm as guilty as anybody. As we try to temper it, is 5 to 6 wins what you say would be a good building block? I mean, this team's not going anywhere. We know that. This isn't, going to end up in a Super Bowl run of miracle proportions. Is 5 or 6 wins a realistic building block?
I think it is, George. I really do. I think you got to get 5 or 6 wins to get everybody some confidence, to get the fan base some confidence, to give the organization some confidence, because they're not sure. So I think it is. I think there's some wins out there, but got to stay healthy and you got to play well, and you can't turn the ball over on offense. If you do that, then that's a recipe for disaster, and that's what they did last year. I was like you. I was confident going in, and then the first game of the season when they were playing the Bears, I was like, this is the team that I thought they could have been. And then in the second half, with some of the turnovers, that all went kaput. And it just started from there. It started in the very first game, and it's kind of crazy how the first game can set your season on a trajectory that you weren't sure that was going to happen, but it did happen. So there's always optimism at the start of the season. But you really don't know, because you don't know how the rookies are going to come in and play. They're still rookies. They're going to make mistakes, just as long as they're doing it full speed. But they're going to make mistakes because they are a rookie and they don't have the experience.
We're still 3 months away from knowing anything. One thing we've learned is the preseason is a joke. And shame on the NFL for trying to pawn it off as full price kind of stuff. You don't learn a whole heck of a lot. I think you do learn more, Kelly, in those scrimmages between teams.
You do, because that's a competitive atmosphere right there. And when they started doing that. I can remember being with the Bucks and going down to Miami and competing. That's real football. I mean, you put the pads on, and there's competing going on in between those lines, and there's guys getting after it. There's guys trying to make jobs, and you're going to get somebody else. You've gone through training camp and you're practice every day against the same guys. Well, now you're going against another team. You're going against different guys. So it's a competitive atmosphere, and you can tell a lot about your team and how they react to certain situations in those scrimmages.
Okay, we're going to go to the break on that. Kelly, when we come back, we will attempt to take the winning streak from 4, which sadly is big time stuff these days, up to 6. Do I hear 6? Well, I'm going to give it my best shot after the break on 94.9 The Fan.
Looking for your favorite sports?
How about sports? You follow sports?
We probably have it. Just log on to the Information Superhighway. They don't call it that anymore?
To start, press any key. Where's the any key?
Head to thegamenashville.com.
The password. We're in.
You'll find what time your game starts and what station it's on.
Oh, they have the internet on computers now.
That's what's up. Your sports live here.
What an age we live in.
On the Game Nashville Sports Network.
Don't let shoulder or elbow injuries put a dent in your golf game or keep you off the course. The sports medicine experts at Houston Clinic Orthopedics can help you return to playing your best game pain-free. They offer treatment options from physical therapy to injections and, if needed, surgery. Houston Clinic Orthopedics has 8 convenient locations around Middle Tennessee. To experience world-class orthopedic care and to book your appointment, visit tn.houston.com.
Nashville, the semifinals of the PFL World Tournament begin Thursday, June 12th. Former welterweight world champion Jason Jackson takes on rising star the Silverback Thad Jean, plus 2023 PFL World Champ Jesus Pinedo and Gabriel Braga collide in a highly anticipated trilogy match. Don't miss your chance to see the action live June 12th at Municipal Auditorium in Nashville. Visit pflmma.com/schedule for more info.
The International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429, has a path to a dignified career. Are you a skilled electrician or lineman? Tired of dead-end, low-paying jobs? Local 429 is accepting applications for highly skilled electricians and linemen and is providing the best training in Middle Tennessee. They are the International Brotherhood of Electrical Workers, Local 429. Call them at 615-889-4429 or go online to ibew429.org. IBEW Local 429, the best training and training the best.
It's the George Plaster Show. Your sports live here on 94.9 The Fan.
Now we're in the final segment of the show. Time for Plaster's Bet of the Day, brought to you by Bart Durham Injury Law. We've got the finals, Game 3 tonight, Pacers Thunder. We'll see where he's going. I think there's another bet tonight as well. We take a look at what has happened so far this week. 4-0.
Nice.
Flaming hot.
Look at the little flame that Billy put up there.
How long did that take you, Billy? 5 days? Talk about how you work so hard on this, this stuff.
So for those who are listening to this nonsense, my record is now 106, 109, and 5 ties. So we're getting really close to where we need to get to, which is break even. So tonight, let's start with the NBA final. I'm taking Indiana. This is a really good basketball team. And for all these people who thought they were just going to get crushed, think again. They're pretty good. Now, they may not be as good as Oklahoma City. Oklahoma City probably will be a really good NBA champion, but Indiana's not going down without a fight. And the home crowd tonight is going to make a difference. Indiana may not win the game, but I think they're covering the 5 in what will be an exciting game that I think goes right to the wire.
Good luck.
And then, why are the Yankees only a 120 favorite tonight? On paper, it's because Kansas City's got the better starting pitcher. I think it's Clark Schmidt going for the Yankees. But what New York has these days is the ability to hit the 3-run homer, to not feel very good for a while and then bang. Makes them really dangerous. They go on the road tonight to win in Kansas City. And Kelly, tomorrow we will celebrate 6 in a row.
Oh, is that right? You're awful confident.
I
Only
think
when
so.
you're like that, yeah, it gets taken back a little bit. You need to be humbled.
And no one is there quicker than you.
Correct.
You varmint.
That's a new one.
That was a new one.
Funny.
I just tried that
Good
one out.
stuff.
Okay, Kelly, I know you won't be with us tomorrow or Friday. We will see you again on Monday.
See y'all. Y'all be good, man.
Billy, you will not be going anywhere. Danny Evans will join us talking baseball on 94.9 The Fan.